A lot of people like myself desire the FujiX100v because it's such an amazing camera for street photographers and photographers who just want to also capture their daily life and have something that's small and compact that can get amazing shots on the fly. And this camera truly does that for me. I have no regrets buying this camera. I know it's so hard to find, but I really do believe that it's worth the hype. I used it for travel. Again, I've used it to just take fun shots of me and my friends or my family as I'm living my life, and it's really special to have those moments captured. But at the same time, I am a professional portrait photographer, and so I'm always shooting people in studio or on location for so many different projects, and I couldn't help but try this camera out. And the more I did during actual sessions, the more I was surprised at how powerful this camera can be for legitimate portrait shoots. So the biggest reason that I find this camera to be amazing for portraits is for the way your client feels around this camera. Now let me get into that. So when I have my portrait sessions, I'm always bringing my Sony camera, which is my more professional, workhorse of a camera for my portraits. Sometimes when people, like when the shoot is about to start and you pull out your camera with a big lens or whatever, and they just kind of like tense up a little bit. So many times people open up more as the shoot progresses because shooting can be kind of an intimate and nerve-wracking thing for people. So beyond lighting and camera tricks, like you really need your clients to feel comfortable and confident. And when I pull out this first, and I take some fun shots of people before I pull out my professional Sony camera, people are far more relaxed when I pull this out first, because to them, it's just some small point and shoot fun camera, which it is, but it's not as intimidating to them when you pull this out versus when you pull a whole other camera out with a bigger lens or, attachments or whatever you're doing with it. It just really relaxes my clients, and I like to use this first to really get people in the mood and in the zone, and I'll go back and forth. And I'm gonna tell you a story of a recent shoot that I had where as usual, I'll bring my Sony camera and then I'll bring my Fuji camera, and I'll take a few shots with both of them just to see how I'm feeling. And during my sessions, I always show my client what the photos are looking like, just so that they can get an idea of the environment, their clothes, making sure everything looks right before we really get into the shoot. And after I shot some test shots with both of the cameras, I showed her the photos, and she immediately pointed to the Fuji and she said, "What's the difference between this camera and that camera?" Obviously, I knew that she was gravitating towards the colors that the Fuji was giving. Not saying that I can't create great images with my Sony camera, but the client, she already saw an edit. And that's what's so fun about using the film simulations in this camera, because it's like you're editing first and then you're shooting. When I'm shooting, I'm seeing a far more stylized look closer to what the final product is gonna look like. And when your client sees that, they're already more engaged. They're already more invested in the shoot because they're seeing what is pretty much already the final result of what they're gonna be getting. When I shoot with my Sony camera, it doesn't really look like that. I know when I'm shooting with my Sony that I'm going to edit these and it's gonna have a different look. Yes, I'm making sure my composition and my lighting is right, but as far as the feeling that it gives, the Fuji is gonna give you way more of a connection when your clients look at it. So obviously, this is not the only camera that can create this type of feel, but at least for my experience with this camera, I have really learned that a more compact camera that allows you to have really beautiful colors right when you take the shots is such an advantage, not just for your enjoyment as a photographer, but for your clients and anybody that you're shooting to see the image and be inspired by it much faster and not have to just wait until you send them the edits to really feel that, like, wow, like we created that art, but to really feel that in the moment. I really encourage you to give it a shot in your sessions and just see how your clients react to it and see how you can create two totally different vibes with your main camera and this camera. I have not gotten to the space where I will only pull up to a shoot and just use this camera, but I have had a lot of fun using this in my portraits, so give it a shot.